So, well, let's go on a second one, and then I can come back and forth between 7 of them.
Okay.
Sure. Second one that I have is don't believe anything that he says, has said, or will say about you.
Oh, wow.
Because that is the part that when you have to get like to know your real self again. Because the way they brainwash you again is telling you what do you feel, what do you do, how you act. They're telling you all those things, but they're not real.
Yep.
They are what they want you to believe. That's how they brainwash it, because they want you to think that you are doing those things, you are feeling those things, and it's not true. It's amazing when you leave and you understand that that was going on, and you're like, well, they say like you feel upset, and you start thinking, your brain starts thinking that you feel upset, but you're not feeling upset. They want you to think that you feel upset.
Exactly.
And then they train you, okay, well, I guess I feel upset or
Yep.
something like. Um,
I love that you're saying did say, has said, or will say, because one of the biggest issues I had leaving was what he would say. Because anytime I would threaten to leave, he would start to hit my character really hard. And he would start to say that I was unloyal. He would start to say that I was cheating on him. He would start to say that I was ungrateful, all things that I was not. So when I would start to leave, that's when my anxiety would come up, because no one ever wants somebody to think ill of them. And that was one of the hugest battles. I love that you word it that way, because I was almost more worried about what he would say to me once I left than what he was saying to me while I was there. I totally agree with that.
and they also say that things to the other people around you.
Yeah.
Like without you knowing, like especially when you leave, they're gonna tell so many stories about like lies about what you did or what you're doing or something like this, and you can't let that affect you as well.
Yeah.
Because you have to like get to know yourself and start like trying to pay attention on your own thoughts. And like one thing was all like about not believing that he's saying is you have to start listening to yourself. And I start after a while and plus practicing mindfulness, I learned to listen and understand where the thoughts in my mind were not mine but were his. I
Wow.
put things in my mind and I was like, that is not something that I would think. That was something that he would tell me or he had told me before. It's not my thought. I recognize that it's his thought.
Wow. That's awesome. And that's a good key right there, is to make sure that you're educating yourself,
Mhm.
which is what you were doing.
Yeah, and that's what happened with me as well. And that's how I help other women, because a lot of people don't have time to learn so much about it. So I had time to learn, and I was reading the books to understand what was going on and everything, to understand why he does what he does. How do I understand what he does? Because when I was first left, I got 7 hours of messages of him trying to explain me that I'm crazy.
Like voicemails?
No, text
Oh,
messages.
oh
Trying to
wow.
tell me that I'm like trying to convince me that I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
That's my fault, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and you're doing this and that and that, and like, and all they were like again, they were not true.
Yep.
He was just trying to brainwash me, thinking that I don't know what I'm doing, but I knew what I was doing. So, and that's important,
Yep.
because like they try to, and that's how they get you in a relationship as well. They change you by telling you, what do you think, what do you do, what do you feel, and after a while, it's just the way your brain works. You take it as that is true.
Yep.
Instead of like questioning it, thinking like, and they have their own way of doing it, you know? They have their own ways that they do it. It gets in your mind, and you start thinking like, oh, did I even like saying things that you didn't say? And
100%.
you like are like, did I say that? Like, why is he saying I said that? I didn't say that.
Yep. Yep.
You know?
100%.
So that's the way it works as well. And you can't believe that those things when you leave, because they're gonna start trying to get you back.
Exactly.
And then that's when they start telling you the things that they want you to believe.
Yep.
They have to make a difference between. You can't make it. You can't try to figure out is it true or not. It's not true, and try to go back to see what is your own thought.
Yeah. One of the things that I always used to do is I always used to tell myself that it wasn't real. I'd have to like kind of trick my brain. And I literally would say to myself over and over again, this is not real. This is not real. So anything that he told me, you know, because when you're in that circumstance, you start to believe, you know, that's why you're saying don't believe anything he says, because you start to believe the things that he's saying. So, you know, towards the end, once I found out my spouse was a narcissist is when I really started to dive in, and I had to say that to myself silently. This is not real. This is not real. This is only pretend, to kind of, in order to like be normal and not freak out and not overreact, because that's easy to overreact when they're saying things that are absolutely ludicrous, you know? Yep. I remember so many times breaking down to the floor in tears because of just the horrific things that he was saying to me, and feeling as if I had no voice and no one to believe me and no one to back me up and no one to stand up for me. And just having this individual just rip me apart and say things that were so hurtful, you know, so hurtful. And the only way that I could not get to that point was to almost zone out and just like ignore and say to myself, this is not real.
It's real.
Yep. It's not real.
Yeah. You have to. Okay, so let's go to our third one. And third one that I have is you don't have to prove anything to anybody.
So good.
I love when I found that out because that was actually holding me back from letting so many good things in my life, because I thought that I have to prove that I can do it myself. I can rebuild my life myself and all the things. And I was like, kind of like cutting off some of the resources I could have had, trying to like prove that I can do it myself.
Yep.
No, it's like, no, you don't have to. And it, like, I guess in some point I was like trying to prove it to him or something.
Yeah.
But like, and when I realized I don't have to prove anything to anybody, it was like, it was like a freedom. That was the freedom point.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a freedom point where like I can take all the help I want. I can like I have not yet, but I'm like I can try to find a new partner and all the things, and like just take the help that people are providing. You know, it's a freedom point from leaving the narcissist, that you don't have to prove anything anymore.
100%. 100%. And to go along with that, one of the biggest issues that I dealt with mentally was feeling as if I had to live up to the lifestyle he was providing. So, you know, we lived in a big house and we drove nice cars and we went to nice restaurants, and just knowing that he knew that I was moving into a small house, you know, and had a crappy car and had no furniture. It weighs heavy on your ego. It weighs really heavy on your ego. And there's this like feeling of I have to show him that I can be just as good or better than, you know, than I was with him. And I don't want to say it was a humbling, but It is. It's a humbling experience. And it also, you start to realize that like all of that extra stuff is just a facade. It's just a way to keep you there, to keep you silent, to keep you quiet. And it doesn't actually mean anything. There's no meaning behind it. And what ultimately true happiness and true joy is the freedom, which you didn't have. You know, you have it with all these things.
Yeah, we had all like same thing. Like we had all the things that like, and so many women, and like even like big like millionaires and all the things as well. Like I've had some clients the same way. They have same thing, and one of the things was they control the money. You know, they control with the money and everything like this.
Yeah.
But like all those women, they think of all this like you and like all the other women as well who have left the thing. They are willing to give all those things away just not to be with that person anymore. You know, that's amazing. Like they're like, no, I would be without anything not to be with that person. You know, because I start over with like I left the way I left. At the moment that I left, I left twice. First time I was prepared. Second time I had to leave with not prepared, and I left with just 2 t-shirts, shorts, flip-flops. Didn't give my car back. Didn't give me anything. Didn't have any money. Had my baby. Even baby's car seat, he didn't take. Like I started with zero.
Wow.
And we did everything from zero. But like we're saying, like those women who have left, they rather leave. They rather leave with nothing than to stay there and have those things eventually.
Yep, exactly. We have a person here. She said, yes, they manipulate your brain and make you question your sanity. Lots of gaslighting. 100%.
Yeah. It's all brainwashing. Like after like, depends how long that's why I always try to get people out really fast. Because the longer you stay, the more brainwashed you get, and you're not thinking for yourself anymore. You're gonna think what they want you to think. You're gonna do what they want you to do, and you're just gonna become just their slave for them. You know.
Exactly.